Hey, welcome to episode 79 of the PoddyC. This week, Race to World First drama, as World First Mogushan Vaults in Mop Classic has been plagued by competitors getting banned for entering the raid before they were supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, crazy story, actually. I guess things on Classic have opened before their scheduled time a couple of times, but some guilds going for World First went in when it was not supposed to be open yet and got hit with a couple-hour ban, which a couple hours is the entire length of a Classic Race to World First. In fact, this one was over in 39 minutes and 38 seconds for first place. Only 13 seconds faster than second place. So you hear about retail Race to World First being exciting. Classic, it was only 13 seconds separating first and second. I'd like to see anything that exciting on retail. I'll tell you that for free.
I actually watched the thing. It was really fun. That 13-second win, the team that was behind was like 20 seconds behind, killing the previous boss, and they did they basically summoned faster.
Wow.
Which is like a way to lose, But yeah, they did like a comp swap or something. Yeah, dude, that classic race was sweet. And also I'm interested to know if, okay, so let's say the Race World First is supposed to start next Tuesday. So if the raid gets released on Monday, and then we were talking about in the guild, hey guys, do we go in and maybe start the race early? The answer is we probably shouldn't do that. That's not a good idea. But maybe Classic is different to where this happens and it's normal to do that. But maybe they don't care about the race. Because I know the big thing with Classic is the speed runs in between the race. That's really what they care about. Maybe
it's definitely a lot more for fun type of situation, type shit.
Yeah, I wonder if they really care. I'm just wondering if the thought of doing that for us would be so insane. You're obviously getting banned, right? No one's surprised they got banned.
Yeah, that's it's weird though, because okay, they say something's going to come up at 3 p.m. or whatever. If it's open at 2:55 and you go in, are you going to get in trouble? Probably not, right? What about 2:54? Where's the line? Where's the line where you're not going in? Because you're all standing out in front of the raid waiting for it to open, and it opens sort of at a variable amount of time from when they say, right? Often it's 5 minutes early, 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, right? All those things are kind of common with stuff that has a scheduled launch time in WoW. So how much earlier is it where you should be okay, no, we shouldn't go in. We should wait until the posted start time. I think probably any more than 30 minutes early, you probably are in danger. But if it's within 30 minutes,
normally come up 10 minutes early sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes
the server comes up early sometimes.
Yeah, or maybe not 10 minutes on retail often, but I think on retail it's usually more if it's early, it's 2 minutes early or something. Yeah. But I guess on Classic, there's been more of a history of things being more early than that. So yeah, I don't know. Fascinating stuff. The Classic Race to World First. Of course, everybody knows Mogushan Vaults was the easy raid. Once we get to the next tier, that's when the Classic Race is really going to start to be hard again. And
yeah, sure,
we're going to be in for a multi-day Classic Race to World First. It's any raid now that's going to happen, as has been predicted every tier.
No one actually thinks that.
No, I don't think so.
I'm actually curious. Is it the same guild or guilds that have been doing these races?
Mostly. A lot of them. The guild that won World First this time is a guild called Newman, and they also won Firelands and Dragon Soul, but they didn't win Bastion of Twilight. They didn't win the first raid of Cataclysm. So.
And then Progress has won before. That was the team that got banned. And then there was another team involved that was former Beef Bar members. And Beef Bar was the no streaming EU team that won a few raids a few expansions ago as well. So I think generally speaking, yes, they're all the same teams.
Also, are these guys also gonna keep up with say when Legion Classic comes out, or whatever newer raid it might be? Because I would imagine a lot of these guys played a lot back in the days, right? But how much did they play these more modern expansions?
Yeah, I think there are definitely people that have certain eras. If you look at the guilds that sort of were in during TBC and Vanilla Classic and Wrath Classic, there's definitely been a change, like a changing of the guard at the top of the leaderboard since then. So I suspect that a lot of people have like their little era that they is there. I think a lot of these people as well like are private server players and have played, you know, MOP or Kata or whatever private servers for the last while, and or at least in the lead up to MOP Classic have been practicing Mogushan Vault speed runs with you know 480 gear or whatever they have this week over and over again on it.
Yeah, I wonder where that stops though. Like he has a good point. Like for example, right now, do you think there are people playing Shadowlands private servers? Do you think that exists?
Yeah, like there's no shot to play Shadowlands, right? Like
There's probably like government torture centers somewhere that have that as
It's
like you walk in and it's like, oh man, am I gonna get waterboarded today? And they're like, nope. And then you just see the maw loading screen. You're like, no.
Okay, so there's no Shadowlands, there's no Dragonflight. Is there BFA? Are there Legion private servers that people play right now?
I don't know, but I suspect there are Legion. I suspect Legion has like a classic or a private server fan base.
The thing that I know is that people were playing MOP private servers before Original Classic even came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think once Original Classic came out, those private server players probably are a lot less populated other than practice runs because people are just playing actual Classic. So I imagine after MOP Classic, it is interesting that I don't know how many players are going to be like super proficient. I mean, it's all old stuff that's been figured out. So if there's ways to go on a private server and practice it, I'm sure there will be. But I wonder if at some point someone will actually create a private server for an expansion that does not exist right now, just to practice raid bosses at some point in the future.
Yeah, because I feel like MOP and then Vanilla, Wrath, and TBC were the big four. Like if people had a favorite, it was probably one of those four, right? And then maybe Legion, but like Legion was recent enough that there wasn't, you know, private servering of it up until then. So yeah, I agree. Like once we get to like WoD, BFA, and Shadowlands strike me as probably pretty low popularity, you know, private server environments. Yeah, that's interesting. There's also a retail race to World First coming up. That's going to be starting next week. So the PoddyC will try and create some content for you over the next couple of weeks. But you know, of course, there's a lot of work for us during that time. So we just had a three-peat in Classic though. So three-peat is what's on the table here in this upcoming retail race to World First. Should be pretty exciting to see if that happens. This would be the first time as well. If Liquid wins this time, it would be the first like full expansion to all go to one guild, I think, ever. I don't think there's ever been an expansion that's been only one guild.
I think that's made up. I think people have been saying that. I think it's happened before. Not to mention that even if it has or hasn't, I think it's like just one of those made up stats that doesn't matter. Like, for example, I think Echo won 3 races in a row recently. There just happened to be...
Right. 3-peats have happened, but like a whole expansion...
Yeah, but like, why is that any more significant than any other 3-peat? It isn't, right?
Because we're trying to build hype. We're trying to build hype and aura.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No,
it's a
cool.
made-up title.
I mean, the idea of 3-peating sounds amazing because that just means we win, and that sounds awesome. So, but no more than that. I think Paragon won every single raid in 10-man in MOP.
Okay.
I believe is the other thing that happened. Also, the way depending on how you look at tiers, right? Back in the day, a tier was all one thing. So Emerald Nightmare, Trial of Valor, Nighthold were all one tier. High Mall and Blackrock Foundry were one tier, even though they were separate raids. They don't do this anymore. But that's how things were looked at back then. So, like, if you look at tiers winning, Method won both black tier, the first tier in WoD and the second tier. There were only 2, but they didn't win High Mall, which it just depends on how you look at that. It's just not how the game was looked at back then. So, like, there's that. But yeah, I guess maybe it would be besides Paragon and 10-man, but the 2 main guild competitors, one was just in 25 and one was 10, so that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be I think this is going to be a very hype raid to both watch and play as well. I don't know, we've talked about it a couple times, but that's going to be crazy. I think I like just looking at the bosses, looking at the lead up to this tier. I think this is shaping up to be like, if they stick the landing on the boss tuning being pretty good, I think both the race and the like raider experience this tier will be, I think I think very, very, very good. So
I think for race watchers, I think this will be an all-time great tier for sure.
yeah.
People who don't even play and just watch. Not to say that it would be any less for people who play, but I know just definitely aesthetically, it's going to look really cool. Not to mention that I think the watchers really care about more than you hear it all the time. 3-horse race, they really care about more guilds being involved. I don't know if there's any higher chance that that's true in this tier than there ever has before, but the community seems to think that like method is like way better this tier, and there's going to finally be 3 guilds that can win, right? So I think that is something that people are really hoping happens too.
Yeah, for sure. I'm also of the opinion that like their chances, I think their chances have improved relative to last year. Like I think they will be closer to second than they were last year, but I don't think it will be by as much as the community. Like I think there are a lot of people that are expecting them to kind of leapfrog into second or first, and I think third is still by far the most likely, finishing spot for method. But I agree. It's one of those things where like even just thinking that it's possible or maybe true is enough to make it interesting.
Yeah, the narrative going into a race will be whether people are marking it off on their calendars that, oh, I'm going to watch this because maybe this will happen.
Right.
So yeah,
100%. What have you guys thought of this first week being like? I don't know, it's a little bit of a weird week that we have in week 1 of this patch compared to previous ones, because there's like there's champion track gear, but it's just from an M0 swoop, and then there's a bunch of like random sources of veteran track gear. There's kind of some stuff to do, but also not really stuff to do, but also kind of stuff to do. How does this feel compared to the previous seasons where we've complained about there being nothing to do, and then also the seasons where we've complained about having way too much to do? Have they found the Goldilocks zone of just the right amount of stuff to do in the first week?
There's a good amount of stuff to do. I mean, right now you have to do what? You have to get your reputation if you want to get the infinite augment rune. You got to do your M0 sweep. You got to do your delves for your weekly vaults. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And your cape. So there's a good amount of activity. I would say like at least 10 to 15 hours of content probably.
Yeah, I like that it's still a capped amount of stuff. Like it's not like, a Legion week 1 where there's literally uncapped amount of value and time investment, right? Like every single hour would be good. Like here, I guess technically you could farm infinite rep by making new alts and, doing world quests for more rep, but like that's, there's no real value in that. That's just the infinite augment rune, which is just quality of life. So there's a few things you can do that are good time efficiency, and then other than that, it's it's still a week where it's true that if you missed this week, you would not be missing much, and that's good.
So. Yeah, I mean, there are still a lot of people who are complaining about there not being much to do, because like realistically, those players, they just want to do the end game content, right? Like these guys, they're PvPers or they're raiders or they're M+ers, and that's what they want to do. But unfortunately, that is not available for these guys.
That's never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's still been a good bit of fun because everyone's like jumping back into the game, and like I've actually been having a pretty good time just speed running these delves with some friends. Like we're 5-stacking, we're trying to like go as fast as possible. So last week I was being a little bit harsh on delves. I called them a massive failure. I'm gonna have to take that back. They're at least pretty enjoyable when you're trying to get them out of the way as fast as possible.
Oh, we should just talk about that in general. The response to that was I think kind of interesting for us, because we were basically saying, and I believe we were only trying to speak for us because it's hard to speak for everyone. We were saying delves like never quite hit for people like us. And then the response majorly from people that responded were like, we love delves. Right? That was the comment section.
Yeah. Overwhelmingly. There was a highly upvoted Reddit thread to the PoddyC that was basically like,
oh yeah, I saw that today. I was actually surprised. There's an entire Reddit post on us. That's a W Reddit.
What is it? What does it say?
we got hold on. Let me like it. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we said anything controversial with delves. We literally just said we are speaking for us, and delves don't work for like us in the high end community, kind of, right? Like to
be fair, I do think that like delves didn't really change the status quo for retail WoW, because I mean, retail WoW is still retail WoW, right? And
what do you mean by that?
Well, because like when Blizzard initially announced delves, they made it sound like a pretty big deal, right? Like it was a new endgame pillar. It was like it was supposed to coexist along raid and M plus and PvP, and it doesn't really feel that way. You know, it just feels like a kind of like a. So I was talking to JB about this, and he said it feels like it's just one of another time waster in a new expansion, kind of like Torghast or Islands or whatever. Yeah, like it's just like a new time waster, right? And that is pretty much what it is, but it doesn't really, add on. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I think there's a few important things that it does that are different than Torghast, and like I think the reason that it's hit, and it's one of those things where like if you are a player who always has the option to do keys or raid as much as you want, and like you can do those things, it feels still like Torghast or whatever, like any of those other things. Like for you and me, for most of my guildies, right? Like anytime we want to do content, we can just do keys with our friends, right? Like that's always an option. And so why would we do delves? But if you're somebody who doesn't have, anytime access to keys or doesn't want to do keys, you don't really like M plus or whatever, but you do want to log in and play World of Warcraft. There's been a lot of expansions where like, if it's the middle of BFA and you log in and you want to play World of Warcraft, like there's world quest swoops, I guess, that you could be doing, or like, war fronts, those kind of things. Those all have like minimal good rewards or once per week rewards. So what delves do differently than those failed systems like war fronts and I'd say Torghast as well is it gives you good rewards that are like semi-repeatable, but not you have to farm, a bunch of this like Torghast you did for the Soul Ashes or whatever, or any of those things, right? It's like you don't have to do this, but you can do it. You get a lot of rewards for doing your first like 5 bountiful delves a week or whatever, and it's like it's pretty good stuff, right? Like compared to the effort, if you looked in previous expansions and it's like, hey, I want to basically do like some quest level difficulty and get given some, normal / heroic raid equivalent gear, that wasn't a thing you could do in most WoW expansions, right? And with delves now you can, and I think that's the big thing is like for a lot of people, delves are easy, not too annoying, right? Like the gameplay is not annoying or bashing your head against the wall or hard, right? Like they're easy, they're rewarding, and that is more important than like whether the gameplay is good, is like Mage Tower or whatever that we like that part. In fact, the part about Mage Tower that we enjoyed, by definition, it comes with the problem that like if you kind of suck, you're going to fail at it and you're not going to win, right? And delves don't have that problem. Like you almost certainly are not going to fail it at the level that you want to do it at, outside of maybe the first couple of weeks of the season if you're both bad and undergeared, right? Like you will succeed at delves. You will reach the end of the delve, you will right click on the treasure chest, and dopamine will be injected into your brain as your character gets a purple item. Like that is the main thing I think that they harness, and it's just not something that's relevant to you if you can do all the keys you want and raid at a high, like if those are the things you play WoW for. But if you want to just log in and play WoW, like delves are there for you in a way that Warfronts were not there for you, and Torghast was not there for you, because Torghast didn't really give rewards along the same track as the rest of the game. It was just like, oh, hey, here's Torghast, you have to do enough of this to get your legendary, and then that's it. There's no point in doing it besides that.
Well, what about fun or fulfilling? Because I feel like you mentioned that it was easy and it's rewarding, but you didn't really mention too much about that. I mean, I know we can't really speak for the vast majority of players, but
the things that like you and I mostly find fun in a game, it would be something like a Mage Tower style challenge, right? Where it's like, man, I have to kind of learn how this works, right? The mechanics are kind of hard. I'm going to get punished if I screw it up, right? But if I execute it well, I'm going to win and I'm going to feel good about myself, right? And like that kind of fun, you can't really have that at the same time as I can go do this with Netflix on my other monitor and win almost all the time, which is what delves have. Like those two things are fun for different people, and they can't make it fun for us and fun for the person with
I think
3
you
jobs
can.
Or whatever. That it's hard.
It's just really hard. Like the amount of things you make that you could play for 5 years, and there will be a system or multiple where it like totally fucking hits for everybody. But it's just insanely hard because what people want is just so different.
Yeah, I agree. Like there is a version of delve, and I think there's some possibility here of like the levels past the levels where you get rewards. The difficulty there could scale more into the fun and interesting for us way, rather than the mobs just have flat more health and damage and like auto attack you harder. I do think there's some potential there, but I don't know. Even this season, the changes they've made to delves this season, I think, have made it more fun than last season, and the changes last season made it more fun than the previous season. So there's definitely room for. It's never going to be the kind of fun that like Horrific Visions Week 2 Prague or whatever was for us, or Mage Tower, at appropriate gear level was for us. I don't think delves are trying to be that, and I think if they did, 99% chance they would just screw up for the people they are currently serving.
Correct.
Which is like a lot of people.
I feel like they're hitting the right audience. And one thing I really liked about the response too from our comments was, we always say it's like, this is what we think, and it's kind of hard to get other perspectives. And I feel like you guys gave us that perspective. You very quickly were like, hey, I feel like I identify with a lot of other people, and we actually really like delves. So that was a W comment section. We learned.
Yeah, so I think the takeaway is
on
like
Reddit more too.
Right, yeah, Reddit and the comment section.
Wait,
like,
so you said they were mad at us on Reddit?
Well, not mad, but like,
not really mad.
pushing back
like,
against our perspective.
Well,
like, hey, this is how we feel about it.
Think? How can you push back on what we think? That doesn't make any sense.
Some of it was.
Well, you're not allowed to feel the way you feel because.
Did someone say something that I'm not remembering?
I think Dorky said they were a massive failure.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely a bit of that was a bit far. Like I definitely should have called it a massive failure.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely allowed to not enjoy them that much ourselves, which I think it's one of those things where it's like there are some times where they design systems that are trying to be fun for us, and I think then us going on rants about them is really useful, because like when they make the AoE cap to try and make M+ more fun, and we're like, look, this does not make M+ more fun. I think that's a really good thing for us to complain about a lot. With delves, it's like, okay, if delves aren't fun for us, but they are serving a lot of other people, at least that's good, right? Like, okay, it's important it's good for a lot of other people. Great. Like that, the game is a big game that there's different parts for different people, and people that want the delves the way they are, I'm glad they have that, right? Like, this isn't one of those things where they're trying to make some change for our part of the game and screwing it up, which like the AoE cap was, or like covenant swapping was. This is one of those things where it's like, yeah, okay, maybe they could make delves better for us. Maybe like there are ways that they could do that, but they have it right now at a pretty good equilibrium for a lot of the player base, and dude, the seasonal changes are good.
I'm looking at the responses to the Reddit thread. And there's someone who just responds very up at the top, pretty highly upvoted as well, quoting this guy saying, delves are a failure and therefore seem to be a disconnect or misunderstanding perhaps. And he says, to my understanding, they, meaning us, specify often, at least as of late, that they're not the target demographic, and they try to specify it's for their content of play, which is not the average player's content, which is kind of what I'm saying. Like, I feel like we're talking for us, right? And then he says the community needs to realize that when they are not the target demographic or something, that doesn't make it a failure is the first thing. And I'm just like, okay, so Dorky saying that actually just like turbo through our entire, like, you're talking about it for us, because just using the term as it's a failure, they're just like, yeah, they're not speaking for that. They're speaking for everyone. So you fucking hard-ented.
Yeah, so, I mean, the way I see it is, I had higher expectations for it, even if it's not something that I would enjoy, because Blizzard made it out to be something big, right? Like, this is gonna be it. Like, this is gonna be the new shit in for War Within. And you know how, like, last episode we kind of talked about how War Within kind of feels like Dragonflight 2.0, which, like, it really does feel that way. And I think a large part of that is because delves didn't really change how retail WoW plays. Right. And I had higher expectations for sure, and maybe that was like misplaced expectations, but that's kind of how I felt about it. And I know, like, sure, many people do enjoy delves for like easy and rewarding content, and I think that's perfectly fine. Like, I don't have any problems with that.
I will say, some of the stuff that there is this season makes me even more hopeful that like they're going to go from like something I don't mind doing to something I actively slightly enjoy doing, even, which, like, right now, okay, when you go do a delve, sometimes you just proc a portal and you can just go do a boss fight instead of the delve, and the previous 2 season bosses can be in that room, so you can just go and like fight the season 1 and season 2 bosses, and finish the delve that way instead of doing the delve the regular way. If the portal just spawns in at your like graveyard, stuff like that, I think is really cool. Evolution of the delve system. But I agree. Like there was definitely, when they first announced delves and when we first tested them, there were things that I was hoping it would be for me that they definitely aren't. So it's like reasonable to be sad that that's not what they are. And especially if you're the kind of player who just wants those sorts of things and just wants like M+ and raid stuff and like class stuff, and you have you have Dragonflight into War Within with delves, into Midnight with like player housing. We don't know if there's other stuff, but if it's just player housing and there's not really new combat, gameplay, I think it is reasonable to be disappointed there. Like I don't think you should have to be excited just because they're making a lot of stuff that's good for other people, right? Like you're allowed to be for your own interest, right? Be sad about it.
I know, but I mean, for me, like it's not even. I don't even actually want more raid or actually. Well, I mean, I take that back. Like obviously, I would want more raid or M+ content, but that's not even necessarily what I'm looking for. Because like I do personally would want more to do outside of raid and M+ as like an M+ player. Because I mean, I have played WoW for the longest time where I like engage with a good part of the game, but more so nowadays than ever before, I really don't do a whole lot outside of just rated M+. That really is how it is.
Yeah, I feel.
I don't really know how they can like really bring that back, and maybe that's more of a me thing than the game thing, but I do wish there were more to do.
Bro, you just need infinite AP grind.
Yeah,
the good old days, good old Legion days.
Yeah, I mean
that was actually fun as hell.
If you are someone who plays an entire WoW patch, infinite grinding is just like very high approval rating because it is giving you something to do every day.
Well, but it wasn't even that, right? Like it wasn't even the AP that made it fun. It was more so everyone being logged in. Because like I still have very fond memories of the beginning of Legion where everyone was just always logged in and people were like out and doing world quests, or whenever there was like some sick trinket that popped up. You guys remember the shock baton from Devil Sword, whatever it was? Yeah, so like whenever that popped up, everyone would always get like super excited about it. You'd have like pings going off in class discords saying like, guys, like log in and do your world quest so if you have a chance of like Titan forging that trinket. And if you manage to hit one of those trinkets, that was like super sick. So it's just like having all these like different events and things going on in the World of Warcraft that made it fun and exciting to play.
Yeah, for me too. But I think the issue is that there was a lot of people that were like felt like they had to do that, and if they couldn't or didn't, they were like, "This fucking sucks."
Yeah, that was always the hard part of it.
It is a very high approval rating expansion. I think casuals and hardcore players alike love Legion. It was just that once they did Legion again in BFA, I guess for most of it, you could argue not as well. People were just kind of over Legion. Like I think it's also possible you could have Legion, you could have the infinite grind be around all the time, and that be amazing for one expansion, and it end up being old, at some point. Like you just get over it. Both of those things can be true.
Yeah, I feel like the burnout, like it would be impossible to avoid burning out for most people. Obviously, there's people like us that can just play, every day for 10 years or whatever. But I think for a lot of people, it's the kind of thing where like the game moving in the direction of respecting your time more and not requiring you to always be logged in and not having infinite grinds, like that's got to be way better for most of the time. Even though there's definitely like in the first few weeks of a patch, you can always tell there's like a little bit of a yearning for, you remember super rares at the start of Dragonflight?
Yeah,
like
perfect
people
example.
They want that, like there's a little bit inside of us that wants the kind of degen MMO, like, oh my god, we gotta fly around.
You have to be
we
around.
Gotta log in and do this, right? Like this is something you can do to make your guy better when the raid's not out. Like
that phenomenon was so interesting too, because I feel like the reason that happened was because you were used to that in the two previous expansions. Because I noticed it so much at the beginning of this expansion. Almost all of the systems that existed at the beginning of the Dragonflight season all were there. The rares were there, the like random shit to do, but there wasn't that same feeling of everyone going around and doing things. And the only thing I can think of for that is people didn't log in with the expectation that that's just what you do, because that's what the previous 2 expansions to Dragonflight taught you to do. So they went into Dragonflight and they were like, or maybe they realized it when they farmed like crazy for 2 weeks and the season started and literally none of it mattered, and they just didn't know that at the time. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember all of us were saying at the time, like, look, this is not worth doing. Like, this is literally just, 2 eye levels for 2 days or whatever. But nonetheless, people wanted to farm it. It was less good at the start of this expansion than it was that expansion. There wasn't anything like that ring that we wore for most of Vault of the Incarnates. I remember was actually quite good, the Cobalt Assembly ring. But yeah.
People were degenning during that Emerald Dream patch too. With the seeds.
Oh my god, seed farming. So I guess if there is something to do, I mean, even this week, right? You've got the Race World First guilds are all buying people's loot lockouts for M0s for like, 5 digits of gold each or whatever.
Well, that's just having like 10 characters, right? Because
exactly.
More than anything, that is just the fact that there's nothing else to do this week. Like,
right.
There's something I said on stream earlier. They were asking, like, how much is this guild charging? I'm like, a guild could choose to not do any Mythic Zeros this week on any of their characters, and their chance of winning the race would not change by 0.1%. I don't think this matters at all. It's because you're getting marginally higher eye level for splits, which may or may not matter. And by marginal, I mean like raid eye level of like 0.2 for splits. For just your characters, not the people you're inviting to help you. And you're potentially having some options for trinkets, so you don't have to like go farm them on Mythic Plus, but you're gonna farm them on Mythic Plus before you like go into Mythic anyway. So it's like it's extremely short-term, early week thing, and the only reason you're doing it is now. Which, by the way, also is why you guys should join these groups, because probably for the first time ever on both regions, it's just the freest gold of all time. It's easy content. It's content that it's gear that you should never want or need as a player. You're going to replace all of these next week, right? This is something where basically these items only have value for the race. They have no value to you, and we're paying you anyway. It's like splits next week, for example. People are used to doing those heroic splits. You're filling your vault, but you're giving up your chance to get heroic items, but to get paid, right? You're losing something of value and getting paid for it. Right here, you're losing nothing of value and you're getting paid for it. So I would highly suggest this is probably only going to happen for the next day or so. I would get in on these as much as you can. Free gold.
Yeah. For reference, like in my guild, if you ever tried to join a liquid split and get paid for it, like you would be vented out the nearest airlock. Like you can't just lock your character, or like even just spending the time doing that in heroic week instead of gearing one of your guys, like gearing your main in M+. Like you would get in trouble for doing that. But if you wanted to go do these M0 runs and get paid for it, like honestly, the marginal value of your M0 loot lockout versus the BOE, the fraction of a BOE you could buy with the gold, like that's got to be better. The gold's got to be better. It's genuinely like I've seen people, there are like comments on Twitter or whatever of like, oh, this is such a low price you're paying, but it's really free money. Like you are not giving up anything valuable at all with your loot lockout this week.
Dude, you're gonna need that gold too, because we are getting early access again. So better start buying your tokens now so you can get early access.
Got banger segue.
Well, before we do that, I just want to talk one more thing about the rep.
Okay.
So,
banger segue killed.
Yeah, banger segue killed. Do you guys think this is one of the few ways I could see the argument of like the Race World First has negatively affected the game being definitely true? Is that for a few patches, and you mentioned the seed patch, Amir Drasil, everyone was online because like the rep was actually good and the stuff you could get for it seemed powerful. And then I don't know if this is why they did that, but they probably got tired of having to deal with potential exploits existing that were always happening. But now the reps seem like super irrelevant. Like, yeah, you're eventually going to get a perma augment room, but like there's no cool like buffs around the way because I feel like they might be scared of what we could get for the race that they don't intend. And clearly the guilds will try anything to get around it, except maybe not now because every guild has now been punished for it. So it's unlikely for them to want to do that again. Right. I think the precedent was also set that if someone did that again, they would almost certainly ban you during the race. Yeah, that probably isn't stopping Gingy. Him doing that on stream is legit insane. I cannot believe he did that.
He'll figure it out some way or another.
I think you might be right. Yeah, like if you look at some of the old Renown tracks as well, even they would have like oh, champion track boots at renown 10, and this time it's like champion track bracers at renown 14 or something, where it's like, you do not worry about this, right? Like there's nothing here. I think that you're probably right, but even like for a non-raced world first player, it's kind of nice to not have to farm the rep, because I feel like if they made the rep rewards good, people that weren't raced world first players but did want optimized characters would maybe be bothering to farm it, like to grind it. Especially, man, with Darkmoon Fair out, I hate it, dude. I hate it when there's a relevant rep in Darkmoon Fair and I'm supposed to like go back to that stupid place every hour or buy a bunch of hats.
That's super
that's
annoying.
Cringe as hell. So I'm glad, like this time around, I'm glad that it doesn't matter. I do think there's room for them to put more like cool outdoor world stuff in the rep, those kinds of things, and there are some of those. I feel like they put those too late in the renown tracks though sometimes, where it's like, you like last season for instance, there were these chet lists which were like little, do these four of these 8 tasks and you get some valor stones, and like you could turn it in for rep as well, but it didn't unlock until renown like 14 with cartels. And so by the like it would have been fun to do that in the first week or two, and then by the time you unlock it, it's no longer fun to do it or interesting. So I don't know, I think they should do more of that kind of stuff early in their renown tracks, like even just like movement speed changes in the world, or like unlocking a new portal around the zone, those kind of things. I think those would go a long way towards making the renown track feel less nothing.
All right, sorry for killing the segue. On to the
all right.
Can we do it again maybe? Try to like, oh, we can't now go into it.
Yeah, run it back. God, what was it was the midnight pre-order thing, right? So there were leaked screenshots, right? And they're doing the 3-day early access thing again. That's really good. I was a big fan
W
of
Blizzard.
that, so
yeah.
W Blizzard.
L community for us not being loud enough for them to not do it again, because I think we voiced our displeasure at how, in my opinion, like extremely anti-consumer and complete dog shit that is. It is just should never exist in MMOs. But clearly we were not loud enough, or people didn't vote with their wallets, which I certainly didn't.
Yeah,
I bought it. You didn't need to. It wasn't pay to win. You if you were a race to world first competitor, someone doing the most at the beginning of the expansion, it would have made zero difference. But
you would have been less likely to get banned, actually.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I hate that it's there, but it's there, and it's gonna stay now because it's clearly they've gotten away with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I said this last time it came around. I was saying how like Blizzard should do this 100%. Like if I was Blizzard, I would do this every single time. Like there's no reason they shouldn't do delayed access for the poors. Like it's just, if you're a brokey, like you just shouldn't have access that early on. You know, you gotta pay up the big bucks.
Yeah, I think the main thing is like, why is the sub price not gone up more with inflation? Right, like. That really should go up. I think like 30 a month. We would all be fine with that at this point. So they should. I mean,
the cosmetics too, and like all the stuff in the cash shop. Like I don't know how the Brutosaur got away with being only $90 because the Brutosaur back in BFA costs way more. I would have put.
Some of my friends are playing Torchlight Infinite, and they're swiping like $500 or something in that game. I'm just looking at like, yeah, wow, I should go to pay to win, man. Just put some champion track items on the for real money. Like, man.
What can you even get in Torchlight Infinite for money? Is it power?
There's pets that give power. Like every mechanic or whatever has a pet that just makes it 3 times more loot or whatever. And you have to like roll gotcha style to get.
Bro, isn't that like? Ones. Aren't you just intentionally killing an ARPG for yourself by giving them money?
Well, you do get to keep it through to the next season apparently. So it's like,
yeah, but I just mean like. An ARPG is typically as fun as it takes to get like juiced the fuck out, and as soon as you're juiced the fuck out, the fun drops off a cliff for like almost everyone. So like getting to that point faster, you're paying to enjoy the game for less time.
But you don't pay to like make your guy. I mean, you do make your guy a little bit stronger, but a lot of what they're paying for is making more loot and stuff drop, right? Making the mechanics more juicy.
More loot drop means you get your best build faster and then log off.
But it is more fun to like do the mechanic that drops 6 items instead of 2 or whatever.
Yeah, in the short term, you're basically saying I'm going to play the game for less time, but I will enjoy that time more.
See, I thought about that too, because like back when I was playing a bunch of PoE too, I was in the ARPG mindset, right? And I'm like, how the hell do people enjoy this? But I saw the amount of boosting that goes on in ARPGs, and it is like insane. Like the amount of pay to win, RMTing, pay to winning, boosting that happens in ARPG. makes retail look like nothing. And I mean, we even see Elon Musk himself doing it, like the legend himself of ARPGs. He's out there with his credit card. He's very powerful in these games. Usually top ranked hardcore player.
Dude, speaking of that guy, imagine how if in any time you guys are ever having a bad day, just imagine how insecure you have to possibly be to be the known richest person in the world, or like without us knowing Saudi oil money and stuff. And that isn't good enough for you, and you need a bunch of people on the internet to think you're sick at games by lying and having people play your account. That is so pathetic.
See, the thing is, I don't need to because I am sick at video games.
Yeah, you're him.
Yep.
Okay, back to the midnight pre-order thing. In addition to the exciting 3-day early access, there's like early access to housing, that kind of thing. Some cool decorations and stuff too. Some traders tendies.
Oh wait, so that does kind of confirm that there will be like furnitures or whatever it may be in the cash shop, right?
Yeah, they already said that. They did confirm that basically in one
yeah, I missed that.
Posts.
I'm really glad that they chose to have early access for housing be on the base edition of pre-ordering. Like, I think they very easily could have put that on the Giga edition.
They should at least put in the $70 instead of the Giga.
Dude, yeah, the $70 is the worst value ever. By the way, it makes no sense. Well, actually, it does make sense. That it's a marketing tactic to make the middle one basically exist to make the top one look more attractive.
Yeah, I mean, you see it too because people are like, "Oh, you're only paying $20 more for this, and this."
And
except it's not really.
So it's actually like $5 more. It's like $5 more value to get the Giga. Yeah, it's
why if you ever look at like a drink menu, the medium drinks are way worse value than large or small. The idea is like you look at it and you're like, "Oh my god, I should just buy the large," and then you buy the large. And
I went to a coffee shop today, and the small. This is LA prices, so cover your ears if you live somewhere where things are cheap. But the small coffee was $5 and the large was $6, and it was just like, no, why the fuck would you ever buy a small coffee, right? Like if you're here.
That's pretty fucked.
Okay, what other stuff do we have to talk about?
Yeah, M+ boosting. I don't know if you guys have seen, but the M+ boosting title has made title extremely high, so much so that my dear friend Jangbi, he was literally on the cusp of the chopping block. Like he straight up didn't. He was like 0.4 points off,
like under or over.
And or he was under. He was under by 0.4, and then like on the very last day, he ended up getting some friends to help him out, just like Dead Nose.
Oh yeah, we did. Dorky did a key with me for my title push. That was fun. We did PoddyC key, sort of. No max, I guess. So
yeah, some of these people out here abusing the resilient system and just
the resilient system has made title. It's actually crazy what it's done to the M+ title.
The title's insane.
Like the title is so high for you have to do 3 20s and 5 19s to get title, which is
that's fucking insane.
It's an absurdly like those are crazy level of keys for title.
I feel like that is like 2 to 3 key levels higher relative to like when I last played and I got title. I mean, it's like insane.
You used to be able to pug title if you were just like playing at the very top end of pugging, but that's like almost impossible to pug. Like you kind of need either some type of resil boosting or friends to play with.
Yeah, so the way I did it was like a guildie. Basically, 3 of us needed title, and then we had a guildie with resilient 21s actually, and a couple, and then just like conscripted a couple of random friends who's like, oh, this person has a priory, we can go do their priory and like get the score out of there, right? And then end up getting all 8 keys that way, including at one point where it's like, oh man, we need a tank. Oh, Dorky's online, let's try and get him, right? Like that. But if you didn't have access to that and you're just somebody who tried to group finder, I feel like if you were trying to group finder non-resil keys, like 17s and 18s would be a reasonable point for title to be, maybe like 5 17s, 3 18s, I think would be fair. But the fact that resil boosting exists means that you just literally need You need such an unreasonable level that you would never get it in the group finder.
So-
I don't know what the solution is because
Yeah, I
it's
don't know
like
what the
such a
solution is.
small. I'm not saying take away Rezilla keys because of this. I'm just looking at it as like, man,
It's
that
one of the
does really
downsides
suck
that
if
we've
you were trying to
pointed
plug
out
it.
before.
Well-
It's just another one to add.
So I don't know if you guys saw, but Blizzard China also just banned a shit ton of people for boosting.
Yeah, that's like
There's a
RMT
huge
boosting,
article
though,
about
right?
it.
It's not like gold boost.
Yeah,
Is it
that's
gold?
true.
Yeah,
They banned them for RMT boosting?
yeah.
They banned a ton of accounts.
that's
like
insane.
they had a really strict. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, there was a post where they like were basically like, yeah, we're banning 27,000 people, and like here's the actions that are happening to the PvPers and the PvEers and stuff that are
Why
getting.
that's surprising is that's the region where you've been able to publicly get away with that shit on stream with no repercussions for 10
Yep.
years. Right.
I think
And
that's
they're
why,
like, we're
right?
not
Like
fucking
that's
around.
it's like with the Tumas Argeris, ban wave, where it's like, hey, we got to make sure people know that you're not allowed to do this anymore, and hopefully then that changes the culture. Yeah, okay. Here's the post. Over 27,000 players. Oh, Hall of Fame boosting as well. Even because famously there's been literally Hall of Fame boosts where you could sometimes they accidentally upload the Warcraft logs, and you just go onto Warcraft logs and it's literally one report, so it came from one computer, and there's just 8 different runs on the same day with 8 different like guilds, and it's just these people are just logging on to like different characters, different owned characters of different people, and doing the exact same raid.
Bro, those were the days.
Yeah.
We never did that, but just account sharing runs in general was so fucking nice. People thought we did that. There was this guild. Do you guys remember? This was a long time ago. Dorky wouldn't remember this. Maybe Drados would. There was a guild in Highmall that did this. I think it was the first known thing of this happening. Some guild got top 20 world, and they had someone pilot their entire guild.
I heard about this.
And I actually haven't heard about this. So.
And it ended up being this Russian guild, but people thought that it was us, and the only evidence for that was that Killers didn't stream that day. We had one streamer in our guild, and he happened to not be online that day, which he takes a day off every week. And they're like, there was Reddit, there wasn't Reddit threads back then, it was MMO champion threads, but people were like hard blaming us for it, and we didn't do it.
That's very funny. Dude, imagine having a top guild with only one streamer in it these days. That very different time.
Very different times. Yeah, back then there was not as much money in it.
Hmm. And your streamer would have to turn off stream during prog, right? Like that was they'd be like a streamer or a content creator or whatever, and then they just wouldn't be able to actually stream the raid.
If you were in a high enough guild, we were a 5-day, 5-hour a night guild, so like fuck it, why not stream it?
Hmm.
Dude, did you guys know I streamed back in 0.3 back then? The good old days.
Really? You're like an OG streamer?
Yeah, well, I was I was a big time League guy, so I actually streamed that shit to
Damn.
the good old days. I should have been a streamer back then. I could have just been a big League streamer instead of
I thought about that too.
A cat VTuber now.
If you could go back in time, would you have wanted to like build an audience before like Twitch became big? And I don't know. I think it would have like I feel like I would just be Towley. I would just be like this OG that had been streaming forever. And I don't know if people would have taken me seriously and invited me into top guilds to where I could have gotten now. And like I think I also like your stream presence really blew up with YouTube. So like would it have even mattered? Would I have even been any bigger now had I done that?
There definitely was a thing where like at least even back into like Legion, streamers were assumed to be less good at the game than people who didn't stream, and that's just not true anymore, right? Like now, in fact, you just assume that good players stream more often.
I thought it would be the opposite.
If you're good, you stream.
Because I mean, when I think of old Twitch, I think of when a lot of like pros were streaming. That was like back when Dyrus was like a top streamer with like 40K viewers, which was like insane at the time. Oh,
like WoW, that wasn't true. There was
in WoW, it was like, yeah, if you had a streamer in your group, it was like, oh man, this is.
I mean, sort of, because I mean, a lot of the people who did become big were like known to be really good players. Like I remember Soda Poppin was known to be like a top feral player, and same with like Rekfo and just like various other like Mitch Jones too, like being like an arcane guy.
The path to being a big streamer in games has always been the same, right? It's you are like the GOAT, you're the best this thing in the game, or you are really entertaining. That's been true since the beginning of time and is always true. You could kind of do both. I think the thing with WoW is there wasn't an official pro scene. There was kind of like the MLG like arena stuff, which some of the people you've mentioned did pop off from there. But I think it was largely like personality driven. I think you talk about what WoW streams are now. The best WoW streams, bar none, just because of the way this game is, are you have a second monitor and you have this stream playing on your second monitor while you're doing something else. I think that is still different than League. No one's watching a League. No one's listening to a League streamer in a League match on their second monitor and just hearing noises that they're not watching. That would just be psychotic, right? Like, you're watching them play the game. Maybe it's passively on your other monitor, but like the point is that you're watching and not listening. That's true now, and that was probably still true then. So maybe in that scenario, pro players should be more of a percentage of a Twitch category when your game is just built like that. Where in WoW, it's kind of even if you've been good, it's kind of always been about the person.
MMOs have always had kind of an inherently, I don't want to say casual, but like it's less about like, oh, pro gamers playing this game, right? Like, if anything, people who play MMOs a lot is just like, oh yeah, this person just has a lot of free time, right? So they're playing a lot of MMOs, but it's not like they're trying to be the best in the world or anything, right? They're just like hopelessly addicted to this game and they're playing it 24 hours a day. Whereas in League, people are hopelessly addicted to it, playing it 24 hours a day, trying to get Challenger or whatever, or trying to be like the best League player ever, which is a little different than a little different incentive structure. Yeah. But I do agree with you, Dorky. Like, it is I don't know. It's interesting to think about as well. What it would have been like back in the day.
Yeah, back in the good old days.
Yeah, I always think of like the era, like when Hearthstone just launched and there were like all the big Hearthstone, everybody was streaming Hearthstone and all that. Was an interesting time on Twitch.
Is that the second biggest like Twitch explosion behind Fortnite? Hearthstone? It feels like it. Like it felt like that is when it became super mainstream.
What about like the month of Among Us during COVID, where probably literally everybody was playing Among Us?
Yeah, probably anything not in COVID is not the right answer.
That's fair, yeah.
Most likely, just because of like how that worked. But it felt like that if you were in the scene. It was just like, this is it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. What other stuff we want to talk about? Oh, it's Fronk's birthday. Happy birthday, Fronk.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, our lovely editor, much abused editor of the PoddyC. That does mean he hasn't left. He's out celebrating his birthday. He hasn't left us a Patreon question this week. So
my birthday present to him is, as the patch comes out closer, I just actually do content, which part of his income is based off of.
You give him a job.
So I give him well, he makes an amount monthly. So because I do this, right? Like he makes half of what my YouTube video makes, and then he just makes a monthly salary on top of that. But yeah, that's my present to him, is just actually doing work.
Yeah, happy birthday, Frank. My present to him was being very mean to him earlier. That's my present to him most days when he talks in the PoddyC Discord.
That is good.
Okay, do we want to talk about, like, he wrote some topics for us as well. We've covered a lot of them. How about the Race World Last? How was that this time around? I know you did a little stream watching some of that.
I got a ton of viewers for it. It was definitely a little more anticlimactic than, which is probably, you would assume that, right? Like, what makes undercover raid leading fun? What makes Race World Last fun? It's like, the boss has to be kind of interesting to watch. Like, when you're watching Firac Race to World Last, like, bro, you're watching the few people with seeds for the few amount of mechanics you even saw at that point in progression, like that late. And then you just were like, oh my God, like, why is he doing that? There's so much stress in just watching people bumble over things on the ground with the mechanic that if you get hit by any of those things, everyone dies. And it's just like, there were so many stakes, and it was so watchable to see them mess up. Bro, Gallywix, when you hit P2, it's just like, there's nothing like that happening. You're basically just looking at the boss HP going lower, being like, oh, and then that's it. There's no stakes. So I feel like the boss itself wasn't that good, but I am a fan of Blizzard doing this new season thing, because I haven't been able to do the Race World Last in a while, because it's always one day before Mythic, and I'm not going to spend time making content a day before Mythic comes out. So, but now it comes out a day before the patch, which is purely selfishly just for me. That's great for my content. So I'm very happy about that.
I think it does make sense as well. Like if they're gonna give out, champion track gear of the next season and stuff like that, like I don't think it makes sense to let people
I don't think it ever made sense.
grind that stuff and
it was
then
actually
try and get cutting edge. Yeah,
it was a fake extra week to get cutting edge because there's always crazy bugs, which by the way, there is this time too, which is very funny.
There's Gallery's actually way harder this week because it's just the swirlies are turbocharged.
Yeah, like things are just going around the room, going off every 0.1 seconds. You take like 30 million damage of lightning every time you try to chain zones. Yeah. But like it was always a fake week to get cutting edge because so many things changed and so many things are bugs that like your progression gets halted anyway. So it's a lot harder to get. So I like it more for that. And I like the extra week of the like preseason. I actually think we've talked about it a little bit earlier, but I think they did strike a nice balance between stuff to do this week. Like if our criticism last patch was the first week there was nothing to do, there's certainly something to do, but not infinite amount of things to do. And I think that's probably where they want to end up. So it'll most likely end up this way in the future.
Yeah, what I find interesting about the Race the World Last is there are so many supportive raid viewers that only really appear when Max is like doing one of these things. Because I like where do these viewers really come from, or where do they go? Because I don't really see them anywhere else. Like they don't really have a
they don't
stream to like a hub
WoW section.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because
I know
just
there are
like
a few guilds that will like link Race to World Last streams in their Discord like that. That is something that does happen.
Who I think it is, Dorky. I think it is people. It's such perfect content because I think the people tuning in to watch are people who've most likely already killed the boss,
right?
And they're like rooting for the people at the end to get their kill. It's like, and it's also super wholesome because you're just like rooting for the everyman. You're rooting for the most like casual raid schedule person to like succeed, and time's running out, so there's stakes added to it. And
a lot of times as well, it's the person's first cutting edge if they're going to get it. So it's like, it's really wholesome if they do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like you said. I bet all of that viewership is See, the thing is before I ever started streaming Race World Last, I like looked in the Raid Leader Exchange Discord, which is like as you can probably guess what that Discord is for. And there was a Race World Last channel, and it was popping off. Like there's so many people posting there. They're posting different POVs. There wasn't just a centralized place to watch it. So it was actually really interesting to people who are in WoW raiding guilds beforehand. And I just like created a place to go to see it. I think is why
you were like the hub.
Bigger.
Yeah, well, because by definition, like none of the streams that are actually streaming it are big streams that people watch. Right? I guess there could be a big content creator that would happen to be one of these guilds, but usually it's just like some person who usually streams to their friends or whatever, and like they don't have a following, so nobody's going to discover it through Twitch discoverability. It was always
some of them
Discords and stuff.
Dude, they were getting linked to me, and before I tuned into them, they had like 300 or 400 viewers. And I looked at it in the past, like their average viewers are like most Twitch streams. They're like around like 1 to 10 or something like that, right? And they're getting hundreds of people. Like clearly, it's something about it. It's like a perfect storm of stakes, time running out, and it being wholesome people you want to root for to make it really good content.
Yeah. Dude, we need Warcraft logs to make like how Warcraft logs has like a competition mode thing during the race where it'll like put up the streams of two guilds progging a boss, but then that kind of goes away and gets hidden. They need to bring that back in the last week and like pull out like, okay, here's the guilds that are closest to a kill, pulling now and streaming and the streamers from them like that. They need to just have because they basically have the code for it at the start of a tier, and then it just goes away.
Dude, what I need WoW to have is something that other games have, and this is purely selfish. Like I want to work even less hard as a streamer energy, but like I just get so jealous looking at League streamers who are watching Worlds or playoffs or something that they would be watching anyway, or like Valorant streamers. Like it's interesting to watch anyway, and they just get to co-stream it, and it's like just the most free content of all time. Like the closest thing we have in WoW to that is like the MDI or something, which is like just not that, right? So like
the MDI is super epic. What do you mean?
Yeah. And like I don't know, I just look at that and I'm like, bro, that seems so sweet. Like I guess for me what that would be is like in a world where I'm like dead and gone and retired from this Race to World First shit, and like I can just go live and actually just watch like all the POVs of the race as it's happening, and people would watch me react to it. Like I want to do some shit like that. That sounds like, well, I don't want to ever quit the race, at least right now. So like I would just love something like that. It'd be so cool.
Dude, if
Dude,
there
what
was
if that ends
like
up
a
being
cage rule of the
sicker?
race the world first, that would be so big. Although the problem is like I'm not like the guild streams wouldn't let you co-stream it. No guild would let
Yeah,
you.
no one would ever give you the rights to that.
Yeah.
Like, so we did with like Asmongold. Asmongold tried to do like a race world first thing one season, and it was, or I guess OTV technically, but they wanted to do like an event, and like the negotiating for like the rights of what they're even allowed to show was why they never did it again, because it's like, why would the guilds be giving up that much value?
Right.
And the answer is they aren't. They're never going to do that. But yeah, you, Dorky, what were you going to say about it?
I don't remember.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, that would be sick. That would be probably, I bet the most viewers I would ever have on Twitch ever would not be when we have won the race, which has been, I think my peak is like 160K. It would not be that. It would be as if I was actually not in the race anymore, and I co-streamed and had access to all POVs, and I was watching it like come down to the wire or something like that. I'm pretty sure I would have like, you could probably make up any amount of viewers that watch the race would be watching that.
Yeah, I've thought about it. It's one of those things where it's like, but there's no way.
It just won't happen. Yeah,
Yeah, because it's not being run by a company.
I'd be able to get Liquid's thing. I could
Right.
probably convince Liquid it's a good idea, but like, dude, the chances of Echo giving me their product is literally no way. Like, I would never. I would have to like steal it.
You would have to buy out the, like, you'd have to offer an amount of money that would sound ridiculous to like those
to create an
guilds to
event,
get them
and
to
then
make it
and
work.
then that's what you do. You'd have to pay so much for it just for the first time, and then you'd have to prove the value of it by having a ton of viewers, and then now you have the power, and then they would be negotiating with you to grow the product. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or Blizzard would have to enforce it.
Yeah. Blizzard would have the power to do something with it too.
Or you call everyone's bluff. You just steal everyone's content and just bet that they can't sue you or sue you properly.
Yeah, what do you do about it?
Like, they'll hate you, but like by the end of the first tier, you would have generated so much extra value and viewership that even though they hate you and you did it, you're so good for the thing now that you have all the power and they're not going to sue you.
Yeah, you basically are making a bet that like it wouldn't be possible for them to shut you down, but I feel like you get DMCA. You'd get hit with like a DMCA
from who?
Hour one by.
Bro, you think Echo knows how to send out DMCAs?
Yeah,
I think
they can figure it out under those circumstances. I think especially if it was you co-streaming stuff.
Yeah, but at least I could figure it out real quick. I could at least get a few days in. You know,
I think it would be an alert level Omega on both Echo and Method. It's like, you know, Discords or whatever.
Yeah,
figure it out. Get you taken down.
But then that's the warfare though. Then they're gonna like be so worried about that they're gonna not be able to focus on the race.
Yeah, that's what we should do next tier is it's, you know, lawfare, right?
My biggest value is not raid leading. It is causing discord.
Yeah.
That would be so much more exciting to watch.
That would be really fun.
That'd be so much. Yeah, the toxicity. That would be so sick. Fuck
yeah. Man, I'm there for the race to war first draw.
Dude, me too. I'm actually really. I hope there's some good drama this time. I hope it's. I hope it's like mostly harmless but really funny. Yeah,
that was hype.
Yeah. So speaking of cutting edge, this is the most amount of cutting edge we've seen in a very long time, right? Do you guys think that's going to continue?
That is yes, and it's also unsurprising.
It's since like Castle Nathria, I think, or something like that.
Well, okay.
Well, are we going to see like a high level of cutting edge guilds again this season?
I think.
If they still do the stacking raid buff, and if they turbo boost us again, I think the answer will probably be yes.
And what are the chances of that?
My suspicion is it'll be less than Gallywix, because I think Gallywix was a uniquely easy boss.
That is what I argued, and someone on my stream who killed the boss recently. If you guys look at pull counts for Gallywix recently, there's a few like 60 to 80s sprinkled in. But when I asked my chat if you guys have killed in the last 2 months, what is your pull count? 100 to 160, 170. Somewhere in the average amount in between that, which is, by the way, a historically normal amount of pulls for an end boss. So basically what they're arguing happened is, yeah, we got turbo boosted. Yeah, we have this stacking raid buff, but because of that, they like never nerfed this fight.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. Because like Giles was saying how like this is a historically easy boss, but I don't think that's true for most guilds. Like that's probably true when you compare it to Ansarek early on. But like by the end of Ansarek, was that really a harder boss than Gallywix.
It's a good point. Also, there's one really huge thing, and that is that boss, as easy as you think the fight is, there are 4 people who can never die, and if they do, or 5, whatever, where your whole raid dies. And
yeah,
that's
I mean,
hard.
I'm not surprised that the final kill guilds of Gallywix are having 150-ish pull counts. I will say, even if you want to call like Ansurek and Firek and stuff outliers, like Ansurek, so I'm using progstats.io. Average pull count on Gallywix was about 100 on this. Ansurek was 250. Firek was 375. Sarkareth was 275. Vault the Incarnates,
Firek was
250.
375
Yeah.
that late into farm?
This is this typical pull count, which I don't know.
Well, that's probably averaging.
It's like, I guess probably the entirety of its existence of its lifetime.
Firek at the end was just as pissed as like Jailer and Ansurek. Like that boss.
Yeah, I mean, those
didn't even do
bosses
the
got
last
nerfed a lot. But I think that's the thing is like with Gallywix, there are going to be some guilds that could kill it in 80 pulls or whatever. And so all those guilds kill it. And then the guilds that killed it at the end of the season, yeah, they killed it in 150 pulls. And they're the last guilds to kill Gallywix. And they're the 2,800th guild to kill Gallywix. And like they just wouldn't have killed Ansurek. It's not like Ansurek was an 150 pull boss for them.
Yeah,
Ansurek would have been a 500 pull boss for them, but they didn't kill Silken Court. Or they didn't kill Princess or Overnax.
Yeah.
True.
Their guild decided that the raid was stupid and they weren't going to raid this tier when they started pulling Overnax or something, or Princess Kaiveza. Like I do think that at least some of the difference between so Ansurek had 1,750 recorded kills, Gallywix 2,800, so almost 50% more kills than Ansurek. And I think of that 50%, most of it, like probably 3/4 of it, is because the fight and the tier overall were easier by that amount. Like that, I think the difficulty explains most of the extra kills.
Well, yo, so since you're looking at that stat right now, what was the last boss that took 2,800 pulls from last year?
You mean had 2,800 guilds?
2,800 pulls.
Yeah,
Holy fuck.
yeah, 2,800 guilds.
So wow, even Sire only had 16.
Well, no, I mean not end boss, but like what was the boss from last tier that was at
okay,
2,800?
the Narrowbar equivalent, like
Yes.
yeah. So is actually Rashanan.
That is
You're telling me-
insane.
Yeah,
There are as many kills that have killed Gallywix that have gotten 4 out of 8.
That is
more
a
guilds killed
crazy
Gallywix
number.
than Overnax.
That is
by,
a crazy number.
at least by whatever the metrics.
Bro,
then
it's not difficulty, man. Because like it has to be the boost and shit, the turbo boost and the stacking raid buff. Because like you're saying, like it's a historically easy raid, but bro, One Arm Bandit was hard for all of farm for everyone. Muggsy was hard, right? Like if you look at like Styx was kind of weird, and Sprocket was like, if you look at Styx, Sprocket, One Arm Bandit, Muggsy, that's pretty fucking close to like before the end boss in most tiers, if not like on the harder side. And yeah, the last boss wasn't 300 pulls or whatever the fuck, but I like this saying it's like just because of Gallywix. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if this is like a historically easier raid.
I mean, I think that also goes to show that there are a lot of guilds that want to push beyond just killing a couple of mythic bosses.
Yeah.
It's just like the hurdle is way too high, and I'm sure a lot of guilds could have killed up to at least Silken Court, but they probably just didn't have the.
Right. I think
like,
there was a lot
it's
of
not
like,
worth the effort.
exactly. Like there's a lot of bosses you'd look at in Narrowbar Palace and just be like, "This is stupid. Why are we doing this?" And that didn't happen with any of the bosses. Because I think even in Liberation of Under, like even the hard bosses, there weren't bosses that you were just never going to kill, or like never going to kill unless somebody really figured it out for like. I think a lot of it's also raid leading. If you look at a boss like Gallywix, you're eventually going to kill it by just giving everybody muscle memory and practicing the boss over and over again, right? Like that boss is eventually going to die under those circumstances. That's not true of Ansurek. Even after all of its nerfs, you need a strategy to be executed well, and you need somebody to really understand that strategy and like diagnose problems with it, with its implementation. And that just isn't true of Gallywix to the same extent at all. And I think that means that there's an ability to just, pull it 200 times if you need to and kill the boss. that isn't often true for end bosses. That was true for Gallywix. Actually, more true for Gallywix than for Mugsy and Bandit. I'd say so. Killing Mugsy, I think, was, if you could do that, then you were going to kill Gallywix, given the time.
Yeah, so the question is, are they going to do Turbo Boost again? And whatever else they had this year.
There was so much as well. There was Turbo Boost, there was the belt, and there was the Hellman Chant.
Well,
Yeah.
do you mean in the future, like season 2's of expansion, or do you mean next season?
Just this season?
Well,
the
I
season
mean,
we're playing right now.
I think yes, because they're going to have to do something to make up for the fact that I believe all of us think there isn't going to be a fated season. And if there isn't going to be a fated season, because they're either giving us a new expansion or whatever, I think there is a remix, right? We know there's
Legion
a remix,
remix.
right? Yeah, Legion remix. So we know there's a remix. So I just mean like literally the retail fated side of it. That I think they're definitely going to do something to spice up the end of the season, like a turbo boost, like something like that, because you're also like replacing this massive new thing. There's not going to be an entire new Mythic Plus season, most likely, so they're going to have to do something.
Could just do a new Plus season. I don't see.
Real quick, the stats, does that count the Chinese guilds too? Because I wonder if that.
I'm not sure. It uses.
I'm almost positive the answer to that is no. Because
it uses Warcraft logs, I think.
But Warcraft logs needs to have manual input, I think.
I know Raider.io does, yeah.
Because I do wonder if that skews the data.
Yeah, so the site I was looking at for this was progstats.io, which is very cool, but I'm not actually sure if it does include the Chinese guilds. I guess we could see if there was a huge jump between... What was the tier where they got added back? Was it Vault? Or no, it wasn't. It was like it wasn't Erebor Palace, right?
It was Erebor. It was very recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I could compare. Like FireAct had 1254 and Ansarek had 1750, so way more than FireAct.
Bro, their bounty went up again.
Yeah, it goes up every tier.
Every tier, the Chinese guild does not win Race to World first. Their bounty gets increased by like $50,000 or something like that.
Yeah. I remember when they first announced that we were kind of theory crafting like. What amount would that bounty have to go
become
to?
A Chinese guild?
Yeah, because I think that's the thing. I don't know, it's so tough as well, dude. The like starting on Thursday is a brutal day to start. Yeah.
But yeah, go back to the turbo boosting. Has Blizzard mentioned anything about how they feel about the turbo boost? Because I have seen a lot of negative reception from the community where they feel like it was too much of a grind, it was too much of a hurdle, it was just a pain in the ass, and it makes alt gearing way worse too.
Oh, Turbo Boost was negative?
From what I've seen, yeah. I thought it was fine. I enjoyed turbo boosting, but there were a lot of players who just felt like it was too much.
I remember there was a lot of negativity about the like dinar restrictions, so much so that they made it so you could actually get more stuff. Like they made it so if you did all the 12s or whatever, you could buy Mythtrack dungeon trinkets. That was originally not part of the plan. And then there was still some negativity about the dinars, just the fact that you needed to like kill the mythic version of each boss.
People wanted free loot.
Right, which is understandable, especially when that's how dinars have worked in the past. But also understandable that Blizzard would want it to be a nerfed version of that. But an unfortunate case of the expectation had been set and then was not met. Besides that, I don't know. I feel like there was, I guess, some general fatigue with the like amount of mid-season, like random stuff thrown at us that was like, hey, your guy's actually not done. You have to go do more. Oh, hey, you have to go grind Perfect Visions, and hey, you have to go grind Dinars, and hey, you have to go grind Delve Belt, right? Like, I think there was I've heard a decent amount of fatigue for that. I don't know if there was negativity around the concept of a turbo boost in general, though. Like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the approval rating on that would be. Maybe commenters could chime in and let us know what their thoughts are on like, would you like there to be another turbo boost this season? Do you think that's something they should do every season? Or if so, why? If not, why?
I do remember memes being posted around, the honey, it's time.
Yeah.
Meme.
The cow.
Yeah. And then the sad guy's like, yes, honey.
Oh yeah,
and that's like pretty much this whole situation.
That's one of my favorite memes, actually.
It's like, it's time to log in, like time to farm your
Okay.
You're high out of level turbo boost.
Dude, the people who didn't do horrific visions as well, and now you have to go do a 5 mask so you can buy a veteran track weapon. Oh, blown out. Absolute disaster. If that's you out there.
Yeah. So one more thing I wanted to talk about is, you know how Wowhead always does their weekly or however often they do recap of DPS charts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So they had their first one for Mop Classic new raid, right? And you can already kind of guess what their title was going to be. Tank specs top the charts. So I was curious to see, like, what people would say about this. So I'm just like, yeah, I was like reading Wildhead comments, and people are all like, this is the stupidest shit ever. Like, why are tanks top of the chart? This is a huge middle finger to DPS classes. Remove vengeance. And I'm like, man,
Yeah, that's what they said back then. This is
fucking
literally what
DPS
people said in
players.
MoP.
Fucking DPS players, man. It's like nobody's playing tank.
Kind of stupid,
We need
right?
more tanks out here. If we want more tanks,
like MoP is the only expansion where my guild has more tanks than it needs in MoP Classic, because there are people that DPS on live that were like, oh, I want to play tank in MoP because tank is fun in MoP. So if you are somebody who is a DPS player and you are sad about tanks doing more damage than you, I understand that. If you're somebody who's a DPS player and you're sad about not being able to find a tank on retail, I understand that. You kind of have to pick one of those to be more sad about and advocate for the game to be the other way, because the fact that there is a high degree of interest in tanking is because it is fun and broken in MoP, and like, I don't know, DPS specs get to feel broken all the time on retail, but tanking you very rarely do, and people like that. That's fun.
Yeah, Blizzard figured it out before how to make tanking enticing. And
yeah, I think part of the problem is that it is pretty heavily concentrated in like really good tanks. Like if you were a medium tank, you kind of don't feel
You're
much
not doing that. It's very skill intensive. I would say the damage came along with it, but I also think that you would see a lot more people playing tank if the game defensively felt like it felt in MoP. But again, that's if you're a good player. Like the thing is,
why was it specific to good players? I didn't play
because if you were good enough, you could never die and do infinite damage. And if you were just slightly worse than that, that was not true. It was like you had full agency if you were good enough, managing your vengeance cap, figuring out when to use things based on when you have vengeance. Yeah, it was the most fun tanking ever was. It's not close. It's insane. But now it's gone. So you'll see if it was like that, you would have, even if you took the damage part away, it would still be more fun. And Resolve never was that.
Well, is there a way we can recapture that feeling without the downsides?
They tried with Resolve. They literally tried it. They tried to give you vengeance defensively without any of the damage. And it just wasn't the same. It didn't defensively. It didn't feel the same. Also, they'll never do it because something that's really important to them is, in general in this game, and this is probably also true for tanking, is they really, really want to reduce how much better you can be than someone. Right. They want to lower the delta between the best and the average.
That is true, yeah.
And I think it's pretty reasonable as well for tanks, because, like, man, it sucks to be paired with a tank. Like, to just queue up. The difference between queuing up with a good tank and a bad tank in MoP is, like, crazy, right? It's night and day. And that is understandable, not just for the worst tank, but for people, for the DPS and healers that play with them, yeah.
And in a way, that could even have less people tanking, maybe. Like, yeah, you'd have more good players tanking, but would you have more players tanking? I don't know, because they would feel inferior.
Yeah, that is true. It's one of those things as well where, like, how across the population of WoW, there are probably very few people that actually harness, vengeance the way that they made it in MoP. But
dude, that was
for those people, it was the most fun version of the game has ever been. Yeah.
Bro, when you were in your prime, you were a teenager.
Actually, I don't think that was my prime.
Crazy?
I think I pretty much got better at the game all the way up until I stopped, like, obviously playing every patch. But that's when I felt like I was in my prime, just because you're young and you're better than everyone, and you're just fucking in your own head,
Bro, MoP was 20 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, just 20 years ago, for sure.
Dude, Legion was 10 years ago now, almost. It's, 9, I guess 8, right? 9. 8? No, it's 9. Legion launched like 9 years ago this month, I think.
Bro, so many people just listen to that on this podcast and their days are fucking
Wait.
ruined.
Dude, maybe it's 10. No, it was
it's
9. Yeah, it was
No, it's
2016.
9.
It was 2016 for sure.
It was
yeah.
announced 10 years ago.
Yeah. It was because it launched.
Yeah, but bro,
it launched like August of 2016.
in people's heads, they can still remember just like running around and grinding AP, and you just reminded them that was fucking 9 years ago. We went through an entire pandemic in the amount of time that Legion was out. And BFA. Oh no, BFA is that part of the reason why season 4 BFA was awesome? Was it was just in the middle of a pandemic and everyone was home?
I mean, it's definitely part of it, right? Because like anytime you think about the best times of WoW is when it's like who you were playing with and what was happening at the time, not so much the content itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like think about it. Who would have been playing at the end of an expansion? Not as many people, but a lot of people came back because there was a fucking pandemic. And that's why it's like so many people played and like I mean it was good because it was just good. But also I think it mattered that everyone was home and everyone was playing. Gotta play with the boys.
Yeah, in the good old days of pandemic.
Yeah, the good old I mean, so there were many of industries that got absolutely torched by the pandemic, and video games and streaming were not one of them. That was great.
It was huge for us. Like my stream blew up during the pandemic.
Yep, we need a new plague. PoddyC 2025.
Yeah.
That's our fish. We need the new plague. We need longer early access bot windows and remove delves. And yeah, that's our official podcast platform. So please like and subscribe. And yeah, anybody got any other topics? Anything else we want to cover this week?
Did they give us
you know
a
what's
Patreon
crazy?
question?
No, Frank. Dude, I said it was his birthday.
He's celebrating his birthday.
His birthday present to himself was not doing his job, which he does every day. It's his birthday every day, I guess. Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, it's always his birthday. He's always celebrating.
Yeah. Love you, Frank. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, bud. Thanks for cutting out all that dead air earlier. You're a great editor. All right, yeah. That's it then. That's it. We're out of stuff to talk about. We're done with the podcast. We'll see you maybe next week, and then I don't know, sometime. I'm gonna sneak a camera into the liquid place and we're gonna film Max and stuff. We'll do an impromptu episode maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe
we'll
we
see
need
what
a
the content
guest
looks like
episode.
We're stocking up on Patreon content to keep the goat supported if we can.
Yep, we're gonna do that. We're gonna make sure that there's some bonus content for you. So, yeah, thank you, Poddy. See you later.
Adios.